The market just made a big move north of Atlanta. If you're buying or selling in Forsyth County, Alpharetta, Milton, Johns Creek, Roswell, or perhaps Lake Lanier, this shift could completely change your game plan. In June, the median price shot up 13.3%, now sitting at $840,000. Inventory is still growing, but prices are still climbing. That's a clear sign of what's really happening in our market. Here's what it means and how it could impact your next move. All right, let's talk about what's changing in the housing market, especially up here north of Atlanta, because this stuff doesn't just happen randomly. There are real reasons why there are more homes for sale, why buyers are acting differently, and why sellers need to think differently too. First, let's look at what's going on with the number of homes available. There are way more homes for sale now than there was a year ago. Some neighborhoods had big jumps in inventory, while others are still super tight. Each area in the Atlanta suburbs is kind of telling its own story. Some places still have homes selling super fast with buyers competing, while others are finally giving buyers a chance to negotiate and take their time. The difference between those tight markets and the more balanced ones is honestly pretty wild. Now about prices. This might surprise you. Even though more homes are popping up for sale, prices are still going up in most of these areas. So no, it's not the big crash some people thought it would happen. It's more like the market is just adjusting, not falling apart. But let's talk about something really interesting. New homes versus older homes. Brand new houses are still way more expensive than the ones that have already been lived in. That's mostly because it costs more to build them now. Land, supplies, and all that stuff. And here's where things are shifting. Builders are starting to get creative. They're offering deals to help buyers out, like helping with loan costs or maybe covering some of the closing costs. That's something we haven't seen in a while. And I'll show you how to make the most of that when I go over tips for buyers and sellers. Buyers aren't just rushing like they used to either. Homes used to sell in like a week, but not anymore. Now buyers have time to look around, ask questions, and make smart choices. That is a big shift from the crazy rush we saw during the pandemic. And sellers, you need to hear this part. More and more homes are selling for less than the asking price. Yep, you heard it. Sellers who still expect those wild bidding wars from a couple years ago are getting a reality check. The ones who adjust and price things right from the start are the ones who are winning. So what's really behind all these changes? I'm going to explain that, because knowing why this is happening will help you make better choices. But before we get into that, if this stuff is helping you understand the market better and you want to stay ahead in the Atlanta suburbs real estate market, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm always breaking down what's happening, sharing tips on how to price your home or make the best offer, and give you info you need to make smart moves. Okay, let me walk you through this shift, because knowing what's really driving these changes will help you make smarter moves, whether you're buying or selling. Interest rates are, of course, a big deal. Mortgage rates have been sitting around 6.7% to 6.8% range as of July 2025. And because of that, a lot of homeowners don't want to sell. They locked in those low rates and they don't want to give them up. This is what we call the lock-in effect. But wait until you hear this. When we get into the numbers for each area, I'm going to show you why homes in Milton are averaging $962,500, while Roswell homes are at $650,000. And no, it's not just about square footage. Something else that's important is how sensitive this market is to rate changes. If rates drop just a little, say closer to 6%, like people are saying might happen, that could trigger a lot more buyer activity. The data shows we could get a 14% bump in annual home sales if rates drop to 6%. So we're right at a point where even small changes in rates could make a huge difference. Migration trends are also shaping things in a big way. The Atlanta suburbs keeps pulling in buyers from other states. 2% of Redfin users looking to move to the Atlanta suburbs are coming from places like New York, LA, and DC. These buyers from the Northeast and West Coast are still heading this way. Forsyth, Dawson, and Lumpkin counties are getting a lot of attention from remote workers and retirees who want more space and a better lifestyle. Jobs are another key factor. Alpharetta's tech corridor is home to over 900 technology companies, earning it the nickname Technology City of the South. That's bringing in professionals and keeping demand high, even though the number of homes for sale is still pretty low. And in Johns Creek, those top-rated schools with a 97% grad rate are drawing in families, which helps explain why inventory remains tight. Improvements to roads and access are really helping too. In Roswell, Georgia 400 makes it possible to get to Buckhead in just 19 to 20 minutes by car. That kind of easy commute is making the area even more attractive for buyers who want the feel of the suburbs but still need access to the city. Now let's take a closer look at each specific area, because each market has its own story. And that's going to help you figure out where the best chances are to buy or sell right now. All right. Let's start with Forsyth County. This is one of the most attractive spots right now. There's been an 8.2% jump in listings from last month, bringing the total to 1,723 homes for sale. That tells us something is shifting. The median home price is $600,653, which is up 2.2% from this time last year. So yeah, the market here is definitely in transition. A big part of this is all the new homes going up. There's a lot of construction happening, and families are loving Forsyth because it gives them that classic suburban lifestyle with top-rated schools. Places like Halcyon are adding even more to the appeal with shops and restaurants and fun community spaces. Another thing to look at is how much equity people have gained. A lot of homeowners who bought just a few years ago now have tons of value in their homes. They're using that value to make their next move, and that's helping boost the number of homes for sale as well. Now let's talk about Alpharetta. This one's super interesting. Even though listings are up 11.1% from last month, bringing the total to 1,465 homes, demand is still strong. The median home price is $760,000, which is up 1.7% from just last year. One of the biggest reasons people are moving here is the growing tech job scene. The office corridor along Technology Parkway is still bringing in high-paid professionals, and many of them are coming from places like New York or California, where prices are even higher. So the homes here still feel like a really good deal to them. But check this out. Even though demand is strong, 53% of homes are selling for less than asking price. That tells you sellers can't just throw out any number. Pricing strategy really matters right now. Now over to Milton. This market is in a category of all its own. Listings are up 8.8% from last month to 384 homes, which is not a huge number. But here's the catch. The median price is $962,500. That is up 2.9% from last year, and it tells us this is a luxury market. Milton has that rare mix of space and style. People are looking for bigger lots, quiet surroundings, and that luxury feel, but still close enough to Atlanta to commute. There's not much land left, and that's keeping prices strong. The custom communities being built here in Milton are seriously impressive. Plus, this is one of those places where new construction is giving buyers a shot at building something custom while getting a few perks. Johns Creek is still the tightest market we're seeing right now. There are only 37 detached homes available, and the median price is $782,000. That's a small 1.4% drop from last year, which shows us there's not much new supply, and the growth is mostly happening farther east. The big reason demand stays so strong here is the schools. They're top rated with a 97% grad rate. Families move here for the schools, and then they stay, which means homes don't often come up for sale. Gated golf communities are holding their value really well, and the areas expanding to the east are opening up chances for buyers who can't find anything in the older neighborhoods. And homes in Johns Creek are still selling fast, going under contract in about 21 days on average. That shows buyers are still competing. But even in a market this tight, that small dip in price is a reminder that sellers still need to price their homes right if they want them to sell. Roswell is showing some really interesting movement. So listings are up 4.9% from last month, with 747 homes on the market. The median price is $650,000, which is up 4.7% from last year. So yeah, the market is starting to find its balance. Speaking of the market, just wait. I've got some negotiation tips coming up that could save buyers thousands on closing costs and rate buydowns. Now, one big reason people are looking in Roswell is Georgia 400. That 25-minute drive to Buckhead makes it easy to live in the suburbs, but still get to the city fast. When you compare Roswell's median price to Alpharetta's, you can really see the value. You're getting similar amenities at a lower price. There's also something special about the vibe in Roswell. The downtown area is super walkable, and sense of community is strong. It's not just about buying a house. You're buying into a lifestyle. Now let's talk about Lake Lanier. This is a more unique market, but it's holding up really well. There's been a 49% jump in seasonal listings, which sounds like a lot. But keep this in mind, 315 homes with docks sold, and the average price for those was $1.15 million. That's a 4% increase from last year. This market is all about lifestyle buyers. People are buying access to the lake. There are strict rules about docks and not many true waterfront properties. So even with more properties for sale, it's still a tight market. What's really interesting about Lake Lanier is how it's always kind of done its own thing. I've seen this in the 20 years of selling homes on the lake. It just doesn't follow the broader market trends as closely. Buyers here are choosing the lake life, and the steady price growth proves it's a solid long-term investment. So now that you've got the full picture on these areas, let's get into the specific strategies that you need to know. Here's the thing, whether you're buying or you're selling, the way the market's shifting right now can actually work into your favor if you know how to handle it. First, if you see a home that's priced right in a good area, don't wait. Even though there are more homes on the market, the really good ones still sell fast, sometimes in under 2 weeks. So make sure you are fully approved with a lender. Yes, through underwriting, and ready to act so there are no holdups. And here's where things have really changed. With more inventory out there, you finally have some room to negotiate. Yay for buyers. You can even ask for repairs if they come up. It wasn't that long ago we couldn't do that. You can ask for help with closing costs from the seller, or even a rate buy down, which is becoming more and more popular with increasing rates. Whether it's a new build or a resale, we are seeing that happen. That kind of leverage hasn't been around in years. Also, pay attention to specific neighborhoods. Places like East Milton or Central Roswell still have tighter inventory, so knowing exactly where to look can give you a real edge. The biggest thing here is to price your home right from the start. Overpricing is not working right now. In June 2025, almost half the homes in Alpharetta and Roswell sold for less than their asking price. The market is telling you what your home is worth. If you ignore that, your home might just sit there a really long time. Next, get your home looking its best. With more listings out there, you've got to stand out. You've got to win that beauty contest. Invest in small upgrades. Use a pro for staging and be open with your closing timeline. Great photos and video and a great walkthrough experience, they really matter today more than ever. And don't forget about timing. Homes that hit the market early spring tend to sell faster, sure. By late summer, there are more listings and less urgency for buyers. So understanding the timing can be really important. And let's not forget the fall and winter. Relocation buyers are still choosing Atlanta, so be ready. Now let me give you some tips. Keep an eye on interest rates. Even a small change, like 0.25%, can shift your monthly payment by $50 to $75. That adds up fast over time. Compare new builds to resale homes carefully. Builders might offer perks like lower rates or closing cost help, which can make up for the higher price tag. So don't just look at sticker price. Look at the full cost. Use data from homes that are under contract now, instead of just looking at what sold a few months ago. This market, it's moving fast, and older sales might not reflect what's happening in today's market. And finally, be realistic. Whether you're buying or selling, success starts with knowing what's actually happening, not what you wish was happening. Most frustration comes from mismatched expectations, not the market itself. So here's the bottom line. Buyers are getting more options and the ability to negotiate. Sellers need to price smart, prep well, and stay flexible. We walk through the real numbers, key trends, and local insights that actually matter. If you're thinking about making a move to the Atlanta suburbs, I would love to hear about your plans and help you figure out how this market shift fits your goals. Just shoot me an email at stephanie.patterson@coleteamrealestate.com. and let's get started. We'll talk through your situation and how to make this market work for you. And don't go just yet. There's more that you gotta see. Check out my next video linked right here, where I break down everything new or coming soon to Forsyth County. We're talking over $3 billion in development. If you're moving to the area, this is a must-watch to understand how it's going to affect your future neighborhood. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.